How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all.
Wait a minute, it's Friday.
Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It is the Friday Free-For-All, and I'm going to call it a frenzy of a Friday Free-For-All. Whoa, what a week. Ooman said it's gone by fast. I've got to admit, it went by fast, but what a painful week it was in many, many ways. It started with a massive hangover on Monday, and wow, ever since then. But folks, it has been an SHTF week to remember. We've got a lot of different topics, and this being the Friday Free-For-All, frenzy or not, means I'm going to do something, you're going to do something, and that something is questions, comments, thoughts, prognostications. You can talk about anything that happened all week or something happened years ago that applies to the SHTF situation. In other words, there's no strict guidelines on what we're going to talk about. It just needs to be interesting and applicable. Like this story here. Voldemort Zelensky, the head giver of Ukraine. He dismissed the head of the state guard. Well, why? Because there was an assassination attempt against him that was stopped, foiled. And get this, folks, there were two, not one, not two Ukraine military colonels arrested for this attempted assassination of Voldemort shitheel Zelensky. Didn't I say just a few days ago that Russia has a warrant out for his arrest? And in Russia, folks, we all know that a warrant is translated as kill the little bastard. And, you know, hey, America has no problem doing the same thing. If anyone wants to play that fucking game, Obama killed, well, not just terrorists in other countries with drone strikes, but their families, their children, their extended families, strangers, dogs, cats, goats, whoever got in the fucking way, they killed everybody. In this case, killing Zelensky might have a different effect. It might save lives. Now, it's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. There was at least a dozen attempts on Hitler's life, right? And what does it say when a president's own officer corps decides to take the little shit-stained fruitcake out of the picture? Now, there's some questions. The motive is what comes to my mind. What's the motive that these Ukrainian colonels had? Could it be a reward from Russia? Or are the people of Ukraine sick of the sausage-smoking butt pirate enriching himself while killing his own people on the front line of Russia to fight this Washington, D.C. war against Putin? Or could it be all those things? Folks, the people that tried killing Hitler, well, supposedly they failed a dozen times. They came awfully close a couple of times, folks. No one likes a fucking tyrant. Nobody. And eventually people learn what tyrants do. They destroy everybody. Everybody. Okay, Mr. Ooman, I know we're starting to show off. Everyone's just kind of getting warmed up. You got your drink, you got your popcorn, and you're watching what's happening. What do you guys want to talk about? Well, Chin Music, welcome back. He says, John, we have a prepared mind celebration. Hey, he says, my daughter has been dating one of us for a couple years, and yesterday he asked me for her hand, I'm guessing, in marriage. Box checked. Son-in-law will not be a liberal shit stain. Well, Chen, I'm going to just congratulations, man. I'm glad that your daughter had someone, a man, ask you for permission to marry your daughter, and he's not a liberal shit stain. That is just fucking great. Great. Good news. Congratulations. That's amazing. And I wonder what kind of wedding it's going to be. I tell you, man, that's just good news all the way around. Seriously, congratulations. What a world we're in, though, man. What a world we're in. I take it, though, that your daughter is well prepared up here. She understands the world that she lives in, and she's making the best moves for herself, her future family, and, of course, I hope she continues to take care of her daddy. That is just fucking awesome. Congratulations, man. Thank you. All right, let us continue. I'm going to take the microphone back. I'm taking the mic back. The Secret Service has now investigated a Maine veteran. That by Maine, we don't mean the primary. By Maine, we mean the state of Maine. A veteran made an alleged joke about Biden wearing Depends undergarments. You know what? That's a great topic. I don't know how you could make it any funnier than just the fact that the guy's crapping his pants left and right. I hope he's wearing Depends, and everyone around him is depending upon him. Anyways, no free speech, folks. No free speech, especially if it's a joke about our sacred, royal, holy leadership in Washington, D.C. I'm sure up Chuck Schumer, I'm sure he craps his pants. Nancy Pelosi probably pee-pees herself just fucking constantly. How about Mitch McConnell? Maybe every time he just like freezes, it's because he's really working one out. Yeah. Anyways, fucking call him every dirty name in the book, Biden and all of them. And invent a few new names for the derelict douches of DC. They need to be called to the carpet for every low-down piece of shit move they have made that is damaging, destroying, ruining this country. And they know what the fuck they're doing, folks. They know what they are doing. All righty. There is one topic here. One topic. Super important. I was hoping somebody would bring it up before I get to it. I'm going to give Ooman one chance to guess the topic, and then get you guys on here. What could it be, Ooman? What is the topic? Let's see. Well, what do you guys have? Hey, John. No, this isn't the one, but I'll take it anyways. Hey, John, in Denver, the illegals have submitted a list of demands. Yes, I've seen this. The illegal immigrants, the criminal immigrants, the illegal criminal non-American sacks of shit who have tricked, lied, cajoled, and stolen their way into our country, into our cities, and are being given free housing, free food, free credit that they don't have to pay back. And they want to bitch about it and have actual, not just requests, demands. Badass Diving Frog says, one was for us to provide ethnic food for them to cook. And they want free immigration lawyers. What the fuck? If this goes through, it'll happen all over. Oh, you bet. Bring it on. Badass Diving Frog, the gig is up, right? The flag is hanging upside down. This country is in terrifying peril. Every blue city out there is going to burn to the fucking ground. Not because you or me or any conservative or libertarian or constitutionalist says so, but because these illegals want it, because the Palestinian terrorists want it, because the Antifa BLM people want it, and because the Democrats in charge at the local, state, and federal level, they want it too. They want this country to fucking burn, folks. Not me. I'm not asking for this. They are. They're coddling illegal, criminal terrorists. And they have such a small fucking IQ, such a short-minded grasp of reality to think that you can go to another country and make demands. Okay, the equivalent is you walk down the street. You are a white person. And you notice some Hispanic kids playing in their front yard. So you walk up to the door, knock on it, and then you say, "Let me in." And they say no. And so you climb through the fucking window anyway. Now you have illegally entered their property. Then you say, "I'm going to the bedroom." And you take yourself and put yourself in the bedroom. Now the people who own the house are pissed off. They're mad. They're calling the police. "Hey, someone illegally got in our house." Right? But the president of the United States says, "You'll keep them there." Right? And then the illegal from the bedroom starts making demands. "I want food. I want clothing. I want money." And so you try giving them these things. And then they go, "Well, I don't want your food. You guys are Hispanics. I want my food." Right? "I want lutefisk and salt cod. I want a herring on a stick." And they're like, "We don't even know where to find what you like, and why would we care anyways?" It's the same fucking thing. Imagine if you or me went to South America or to Africa, showed up, got off the plane, went to the most expensive hotel you could find, demanded keys to the fucking penthouse suite, and then said, "Bring me everything I want." They'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here." The police would show up. They'd beat the living shit out of you. And then they'd throw you into the fucking ocean and have the sharks eat your ass. Anyways, this it's happening, Badass Diving Frog, and it's not going to stop. Not a bit. It's not going to stop. Now, my turn on this Friday frenzy of a free-for-all. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, they decided to give a warning. What could it be? What could it be? Quote, here it is, quote, "A severe geomagnetic storm is forecasted to hit us, folks, maybe today, as early as today." How can they not fucking know the speed of the storm, how long it's going to take to get here, when it's going to start hitting, as early as today? They're fucking scientists in 2024 with all manner of telescopes and lasers and computers and every tool known to astronomy to measure something. And if it is, folks, if it's going to cause potentially power grid blackouts, internet outages, and ruin the world possibly, don't you think that they would take a little more effort to really get a good idea what's going on? Folks, any second now, we could all fry like we're in a microwave or like a piece of chicken that's been dropped into a pot of, 400-degree oil. It's just crazy. Once again, the fear factor is there, trying to scare us into thinking we're going to die. Didn't happen. I wasn't worried about this one in the least. And then I think to myself, wait a minute, John, when you're not worried in the least, that's when you should really be worried. We just don't know when it's going to hit. And by the way, I hope the Artesian Bulldogs are doing well. This shirt was a gift to me from a friend I haven't heard from in a little while. Anyways, folks, the fear porn is out there. All we can do is be ready and understand that there's no accounting for stupidity. No accounting for stupidity. And we just don't know when it's going to happen. Mr. Uman, speaking of we don't know when it's going to happen, what do What do you think's going to happen? What do we have up next? Who is in the house? Who has something to say on the Prepared Minds Frenzy of a Free-for-All? And it's Mikey G. And he says, Mr. Z, meaning Zuliman. Zelensky. Mr. Zelensky, soon to make his exit with his duffel bags of cash. Mikey, what's amazing, man, what's amazing is the little bastard has supposedly stolen not just millions, but billions of dollars. And I'm sure he has electronically transferred it out of the country. I'm sure that, they checked it in, and then he checked it right out. Where would he send it? I know that Cyprus, the island nation of Cyprus, is the European version of the Grand Caymans or the Bahamas, right? I'm pretty sure of that. It's a money laundering island, but it's really been used largely by Russian oligarchs and Eastern and Central Europeans and Western Europeans. But where could he hide all that money? I wouldn't be surprised if Zelensky isn't hiding it in Shanghai. It wouldn't surprise me if he's hiding his money in Hong Kong or Malaysia, someplace that he thinks he's safe. What a deal. Yeah, Mr. Z, if he doesn't step down and leave, he's going to be killed by his own people. And Name Redacted says, I think Z-Man's lack of success guarantees his end. And see, that is the pickle the little pickle tickling sucker has. That's the pickle he's in, or is in him. And yes, there are a lot of homosexual jokes about Zelensky, because he is a screaming, flaming fruitcake. Videos of him are all over Twitter, YouTube, the internet. He's a freak, folks. He is a freak. Now, here's the deal. The freak was told, you will take your country and run it into the ground in an effort to win a war against Russia. The Ukraine people don't like him. The Ukraine military is now turning against him. Remember that his commanding general attempted, it was a mild coup d'etat. Tried taking control of the country, but remember, Zelensky is there because the CIA wants him there. So the CIA is protecting him until it is time to stop protecting him. And you must understand, I believe as Colonel Fletcher Prouty said, that assassinations don't happen. They are allowed to happen. So Zelensky is not loved by Russia. Russia wants to kill him. The people of Ukraine don't like Zelensky. They now want to kill him, including his own military officer corps. And the United States government and their, shall we say, law enforcement on an international scope, the CIA, if he's not doing what he's supposed to, they will kill him. There's no place on earth. There is no place on earth that wants Zelensky. He is a dead man walking. He can't win against Russia. He can't leave and just resign. His own people hate him. And he is, folks, unquestionably, undoubtedly a turd. Oh, my goodness. All right. Now, speaking of turds, and thank you, Name Redacted. Hey, folks, get your questions down below. We've got an hour here on this Friday frenzy of a free-for-all. Over in Germany, at the Tesla factory. Isn't it interesting how there are Tesla factories around the world? Anyways, near Berlin is a Tesla factory and a bunch of eco-terrorists. And I love how the mainstream media calls them eco-protesters. Sometimes they'll even call them an extremist. No, they're eco-terrorists. They are left-wing socialist eco-terrorists. They broke through, folks, police barriers, and they tried to storm the Tesla factory in Germany. First, I'm gonna ask the simple question: when will governments get rid of these fruitcakes? Oh yeah, when we get rid of the government fruitcakes and assholes first. Put in a real government, and then they'll get rid of these environmental asswipes. But I have a different question, one that points to the hypocrisy of the far left eco-extremist terrorist fruitcakes. I thought they wanted to get rid of oil, gas, diesel, oil, bad. Isn't that what Teslas do? Aren't Teslas electric? Or did the eco environmental mental wackos in Europe figure it out that it takes way more energy to make a Tesla than you'll ever save in energy? That the energy that you put into the electric vehicle is created by burning fossil fuels. Unbelievable, folks. You know, which one is it? Are they that smart? I don't think so. If you're dumb enough to glue your hand to the ground while sitting in the middle of a road, you are pretty much a dumbass. Right? If you chain yourself to other people who then, you know, want to go sit in the middle of a road in front of cars, you're pretty much a retard. And it just goes downhill from there, folks. Downhill from there. And it's just, there's so much to talk about, folks. So much to talk about. Yeah. Okay. What do you want to talk about? Ooh, man, who do we have up next here on the Prepared Mind channel? Rutro Ooman says there's a Boeing 737 that skidded off the runway in Senegal yesterday. Senegal, another third world shithole, right? That's okay. Their planes, they don't need wheels and wings and shit like that. Ooman says they must be paying some ransom because Boeing, the word Boeing did not appear in the headline. So we're just supposed to go, well, a big pill looks plain, looks like a Tylenol pill, right? Yeah, it's a 737, but we don't know who made it. No, it's a Boeing. It's a Boeing. Now, must be paying a ransom. Well, that would make sense, right? A newspaper, the Associated Press, or Reuters, or Al Jazeera. I just had to say Al Jazeera. They're like, hey, you give us lots of money or we're going to put the word Boeing in there. Nope, we don't need that. We know who Boeing is. We know what Boeing thinks, what Boeing believes, etc. I tell you, it's making me not want to fly. It's making me not trust. But at the same time, I sat down and I thought, wait a minute, these fuckers don't want us traveling. They don't want us able to afford to get on a plane or to get on a plane, period, and go to the same places that the uber rich go. They want you living in your hovel, working and traveling no more than 15 minutes in any direction. And they want that to be your world, folks. That is very feudal. Neo-feudal. Because that's how the feudal system was. You were not allowed to leave the community in which you were raised unless you had the king's permission or the lord's permission, depending on who your lord was. You could have been a duke or a count, an earl, some prince. Who the fuck knows, right? Who knows? All righty, let us move on if we shall. I love being a smart ass. I really do. Makes me very, 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 very happy. And I'm looking forward to the day when I can catch a politician, catch him by the toe, and hold him accountable, folks. Well, a Biden administration official made a huge mistake because he went to a comedy club in Chicago. A comedy club in Chicago, and the comedian on stage, they like to go, hey, what's your name? And you go, I'm John. And then they'll say something like, well, what do you do, John? And you tell them what your job is or where you live, that sort of thing. So this comedian's on stage and he asks someone in the crowd what his name is. And he says, Nick. And I really wish I could have had this opportunity, folks. And he says, so this comedian's name is Thomas, by the way. He says after learning his name, Nick, what do you do for a living now? And Nick, like the complete Democrat, idiotic, blundering fuckstick, says, I work for the Biden administration. So the comedian, Thomas, is just stunned, right? He says, you work for the Biden administration? Is it your job to wake him up? Or what's your job? And then Thomas, right? He kind of like pretends like he's trying to wake the old guy up. Hey, there's a war. Hey, right? So then he says, okay, what do you do for the Biden administration? What a shit show of a job you have. Now, Nick doesn't respond to that comment. And I think that's just a great fucking question or a statement. What a shit show of a job you have. So, of course, by this time, Nick is embarrassed. The crowd is fucking laughing at him. So, any good comedian worth his salt is just going to, he's got blood, right? There's blood in the water and he's going to attack. He says this Thomas guy says, I can't believe you admitted that in front of all these people. You have the freedom to lie. You could have said you were a hooker and I would have been prouder of you. That's just fucking great. It's just brilliant. He says, what do you do? And Nick says, I travel to southern states. So apparently Thomas made this noise, and right? The crowd's laughing. They're all pointing at him, wishing they had fucking rotten tomatoes and smelly lettuce to throw at the dumb fuck, right? Well, Thomas pretended to walk off the stage, but he didn't. Thomas says, you go to the South and you try to sell them on Biden? You're fucking retarded. What the fuck? Because what are you talking about? That's your fucking job? Wow. Are you ready to be unemployed or what's your vibe? Right? Totally just trashed this guy. I think it's brilliant. I really wish I had had an opportunity to deal with this guy. What a dumbass, literally. But dumbasses are everywhere in the Biden. Did he really think? Is he as dumb as Biden is? Thinking the world loves him and loves the Democrats and what they're doing to this fucking country? I don't think so. I don't think so. Mr. Ooman, welcome back, Ooman. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? What's on the audience's mind? Where are we going next? We're halfway through this Friday frenzy of a free-for-all, and it is Badass Diving Frog. And he says, Zelensky, meaning the leader of Ukraine, has just released all the men aged 35 to age 60 from prison yesterday to go fight on the front line. It doesn't sound like Ukraine is winning the war against Russia. Folks, this was done by Germany. Germany in the 1940s. But, careful to note, right? They did not release Jews to fight. They released hardcore criminals. Because that's how desperate they were. You start running out of soldiers, you go to older men. And then older men, and then guys my age, after you kill everyone off. Unbelievable, folks. Ukraine is not winning when they have to release all of their prisoners aged 35 to 60. Now, why not age 18 to 34 or 18 to 30? Or has Zelensky already used them? I'm sure they're being offered great, great benefits. Like, hey, you go fight for Commander Zelensky. Commander. You go fight for General Zelensky. Yeah, General Weenie Smoker. You go fight for the president. He's not a president. He is a punk. If you go fight for Ukraine against Russia and you manage to survive the meat grinder, drone bombing that you're going to get, then maybe we'll commute your sentence later. This is a fucking death sentence, folks. It's a death sentence. It truly is. I feel badly for the people of Ukraine because they're being screwed over. And I feel badly for the people of Ukraine because they're surrounded by corruption. If anyone drops a $5 bill on the ground, right, someone's going to get stabbed trying to stop someone else from getting it first. What a fucked up country. One of the most corrupt on the planet. I've met people from Ukraine and Estonia and Latvia. I met people from Eastern Europe. They're nice. But Ukraine right now is a complete shit show. It still cracks me up. That, folks, this is what they believe. Now, you and I know that in America, the United States of America, the fruitcake left loves their transgender men. They love the fact that they'll cut their own dick off. They love the fact that they take hormones and grow weird-ass man boobs. They love that. Makes them all excited and happy. And who knows what else it makes them. But remember, Zelensky had people fleeing the country when this war first started. And they even had transgender Ukrainian men trying to sneak out of the country and avoid the draft. Like, I'm just a little girl. Look at my piggy tails. Right? That's what they were trying. And they're like, nope, you've got a dick. Get over there. You're going to go fight the Russians. Where was the outrage of President Biden, who wants them, right, to have recognition and remembrance? Right? That's what all these fruitcakes need, is recognition and remembrance. Why didn't all the freaks and fruitcakes in America come to the defense and say, no, you can't turn those Ukrainian trannies into soldiers? They're girls now. You have to accept their lie. I mean, their version of reality. Because actually, folks, they couldn't give a fuck about the fruitcakes. They're as good as dead. Even the ones in Washington, D.C., they all think they're going to run the show, folks. Not quite. It's going to be a shit show. It'll be an absolute shit show. Chin Music said, man boobs have never made anyone happy. No, they have not. No, they have not. All right, if we shall. Oh, well. Fuck. I'd like to thank Chin Music for sending me a picture comparing Jill Biden to Melania Trump. Jill dressed in what looks like a lawn chair or umbrella cover. That's just vomitous. It truly is. All right. Thanks, man. I needed that one. In Hollywood, or at least the person who was captured was a Hollywood producer named Herschel Weingrod. And there was a predator. No, that's not the correct word. It's not a predator sting operation. It is a pedophile sting operation. And there's a YouTube organization that does that they want to catch these predators, these perverts, right? And so they have their little stings. And they captured Herschel Weingrod, a Hollywood producer who was attempting to hook up with an underage girl. Actually, it doesn't say whether it was a girl or a boy, but an underage human being. And he tried to escape. He tried to flee. Hollywood super producer Herschel Weingrod. Herschel, huh? He attempted to flee, so they shot him with powder guns, right? The powder, what do you call it? Capsaicin, pepper spray, powder balls. Folks, this is terrible news. It's awful, awful news, because another Democrat presidential candidate will not be able to run for president now. He's been caught trying to have sex with a minor. Well, I mean, they caught Biden doing the same thing, sniffing every kid he can, not to mention showering with his daughter. What a bunch of fucking weirdos. Literally, folks, a bunch of weirdos. And by the way, California doesn't want to prosecute anybody who is in a sting operation or been captured by non-police for attempting to have sex with and hook up with minor men or boys and little girls. Once again, California showing itself to be an absolute shithole of a shit show. Okay, Mr. Uman, what are we doing, man? The world is falling apart. Truly is. Shit has hit the fan. Evil is everywhere. 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 I mean, I just told you that, well, the district attorneys in California won't prosecute any child predator because, too many Democrats want pedophiles to be free and doing what they do. It's that bad. So Name Redacted said, hey, none of this Boeing shit flushes if you understand how aircraft mechanics are performed. You would have to have collusion of too many people deliberately doing and not doing shit. And that's just it. That's just it. Look, if the mechanics were doing their jobs, we wouldn't have wheels falling off of airplanes, jets. I mean, yeah, you're supposed to have people checking their work, certifying that it was done. So why is it in the past year, and especially the last 6 months, so many aircraft have had their fucking wheels falling off? Almost like it's being done intentionally to scare people into not flying. I tell you, it's quite an interesting thing. I agree with you. There's the stink test, right? Doesn't seem to work. Now, I did spend some time in the Marine Corps Air Wing in Cherry Point, North Carolina. So I've seen a few planes. And I learned a little bit about mechanics, even though I'm not a mechanic. Yeah, I believe that there is a requirement to change parts. You don't wait for parts to fail on a jet before fixing them, right? You may drive down the street and all of a sudden you have a wheel bearing go bad, a tire go flat, your car starts sputtering and then stops. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll get that problem fixed now. You don't do that with airplanes. You perform routine maintenance, have that maintenance double checked. You have the parts certified to be OEM, original equipment manufacturers, right? So that there is no problem. So it's strange that wheels are falling off, doors and parts of the fuselage are ripping off, flaps are breaking and just flying off of planes. It's pretty fucked up. Now, let's see. When I was in Cherry Point in 1989, they had this thing called TFOA, things falling off aircraft. Now, that sounds odd. Didn't you just say that things are checked and double checked and always checked? Yeah, but the planes that they were having problems with were A4s and A6s. And those planes had been around like pre-Vietnam. They were already in 1989, like 30 fucking years old, and been what, shot at and bombed and everything else. Oh man, what a mess. Thank you, Name Redacted, very much for that. And we've got more to talk about. We got more to talk about. Where to go, in fact. Where to go. Let's try this. I'm going to pick on the fruitcake some more. The sausage smoking pole riders. A trans freak was charged with cyber stalking. What is cyber stalking? If I went and looked for President Trump on the internet, is that cyber stalking? Well, whatever cyber stalking is, it isn't good. But he was charged with cyber stalking. I mean, what is that? It's a fucking misdemeanor. I don't think it's a felony. But the same fruitcake that does the weenie tuck, that puts makeup on his face so he looks like a circus clown, he was threatening the governor, Bill Lee, and his wife. And I don't think he was cyber stalking him. I think he was preparing on murdering them, preparing to murder them. When are we going to learn, folks? When will the government learn? It's not just cute, let these fruitcakes out. I really think it's wonderful. But here's the deal, and this was what made the story very, very odd. And I'm not talking about the freak himself, but he happened to be a former student of the Christ Presbyterian Academy in Nashville. So yes, the governor he threatened was Tennessee's Governor Bill Lee. And the U.S. Attorney's Office in Middle Tennessee, they released this information. So Mackenzie McClure, actually his name is Calvin. He was arrested by federal agents because he was exhibiting troubling behavior on social media. And that cracks me up. How can you have troubling behavior on social media? Social media does not allow you to behave. It allows you to comment and make statements. But he did leave a disturbing voicemail for the Christ Presbyterian Academy on March 24th. And then they shut down 2 schools the following day. In other words, he, not her, fucking mainstream media says in her voicemail to CPA in March. No. In his voicemail, the guy has a dick, right? They are, folks, extremely dangerous. I mean, are you going to let your kids go hang out with fruitcakes? Are you going to let your kids join their little club? I sure hope not. I really, really, really hope not. They plan on murdering people. That's what they do. They truly do. All right, Mr. Uman, it's your turn. It's the crowd's turn. We got 15 minutes left on this show. And Cyber Hana says, have you heard they're starting to float the idea of no driving on weekends? The answer is absolutely not. I haven't heard a fucking word about that. What is going on? Is that some sort of north of the Mason-Dixon line rule that's happening? Mr. Uman, I need some answers now, buddy. I know you don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard anything out this. They're trying to do like a trial balloon to see if people are going to accept it or reject it. Uman, you popped on there, man. What are you thinking?
I heard something about this being floated in Europe a while back, but they're saying that they're trying to float the idea here. Where, I'm not exactly sure.
Well, Cyber Hana's up in that Midwest section, isn't she?
Yeah, she's up near me.
Yep, up in that zone of the country.
I would expect that this would be something coming out of Colorado or California or something.
Yeah, fucking California. California's special. Everyone, get electric vehicles. Oh, shit, our power grid's down. Sorry. Yeah, it almost sounds too smart for California.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with Colorado then.
Oh, there, yeah. I just the retarded liberalism is incredible to me, man. But yeah, I could see them trying this. What is the purpose and point of no driving on weekends? Is there a fuel shortage up in the greater Chicago area?
I'm sure it's to keep the environment safe and to help reduce greenhouse emissions and
Carbon. All of us carbon life forms, because you, me, we're carbon based life forms. If there's too much carbon in the environment, then that could be bad for us.
oh yeah, well we are the carbon they're trying to get rid of, right?
That's like having too much water in the ocean for the whales. It's just not good for them. Too much water. I don't know. These fucking people are crazy. They really are.
Oh, all these hippies and granola loving tree huggers, they just
Yeah.
got damn time on their hands to come up with more stupid shit that gets in the way of folks like you and me that are trying to make a living and be productive and build stuff.
I mean, literally, they're going to say no driving on the weekends. Like the roads will just be fucking empty.
Yeah, good luck enforcing that.
But I mean, what would they say? If you're out driving, you better be an essential person. I remember when they tried identifying Americans, categorizing people like me and you as essential or non-essential during the COVID lockdown.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever been more fucking insulted, except every day since then, by the fucking government to say that I am non-essential. People count on me to burn fuel in my truck.
Yep, I hear you, man. I hear you. It was just absolutely ridiculous what they deemed essential and not.
I just, it's fucking incredible to me, man. No driving on the weekends. Well, it's gonna help our roads last longer. It's gonna save us from carbon. Imagine all the squirrels and bunnies that won't get run over. The earth will cool down. No, wait. Do we want it to cool or heat up, Boo Man? I can't remember. Where are we at this week?
Oh, I don't know. One of these days, we still got to do that thing I put together with 100 years of climate hoax.
Oh man, that was beautiful. It was a good piece of work you did. Just incredible.
Yeah, it's like every 10 to 20 years they flip flop on global warming, global cooling, and I mean, what we're on 40 years of global warming at this point.
I think so, but your list actually showed the predictions that were wrong. I can't remember, was it 3 dozen or 4 dozen independent, separate predictions across the last 70 or 80 fucking years of predictions about climate change that are catastrophic.
Some of the ones went back into the 1800s.
It did go back that far.
Yeah, I mean they weren't at that point proposing that we have to go solar and make wind power and shit, but all the predictions between global warming, global cooling, and then running out of oil, peak oil. Yet somehow weren't we supposed to run out of oil by early 2000s or something like that?
Yes, but in the 1800s, while they didn't have climate crisis, there was the claim that the Earth could not support more than 1 billion people, not enough food, and so eugenics was born, which is killing people for the good of all,
for the greater good,
for the greater good, for the greater good. I don't know if everyone here enjoys English humor, but there is a great movie that was done by the British comedians. I think Simon can't remember his fucking name. Anyways, the movie is called At World's End, and this English town is being taken over by aliens pretending to be humans. And there is a computer AI type program. And the idiotic British guys who are just trying to drink a pint at every bar in this town, they irritate and piss off the AI environmental computer so bad that it ultimately says fuck it and it leaves. And it's actually a pretty funny fucking movie.
It sounds like
Simon Pegg is in it.
Okay, that sounds like a chapter out of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy too.
You know, it actually very much has that kind of a feel to it. But it's very funny. Yeah, that the computer is just pushing this climate change and you humans are bad and we're going to fix you and change the way you think. And it's actually a hilarious movie. It has Pierce Brosnan, James Bond playing a professor. But the humans win. Assholes win. But what they won in the end probably is a good lesson for us, Uman. And I don't want to do a spoiler, but let me put it this way. The humans that survived were happy, but not really healthy. because the powers that be just fucked everything up. It's an interesting movie, and it's worth watching with a prepper's eye or a conservative's eye. Anyway, lots of fun. Thank you, Cyber Hana.
Maybe something to read this weekend.
Well, read,
or watch.
I don't know, man. Maybe you're blind and you watch TV Braille. You know, hey, yeah, that chick, she's something. Anyway, yeah. What are they gonna get? I don't know. Anyways, no driving on weekends. That makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah. I think I gotta pop out again for a second here. So if I don't get back, everybody have a good weekend.
Hey, thanks, man. You are the man. Folks, now I'm going to take you to New York City. New York. New York, I'm telling you. New York City. A man was filmed. That's right. People stood around and watched. And at least one person, actually filmed another man wrapping a belt around a woman's neck. After knocking her out, he drug her by her neck with a belt around it into the street between two cars and raped her in public. So was this an illegal alien, a terrorist, or just a regular old New York City dope fiend of a guy? Unbelievable, folks. Don't worry. The Democrats just stood there and watched and filmed it and did nothing to help this poor lady. Can you imagine? I actually had a business associate go to New York City several days ago. And I kept telling her, please be safe. Don't turn your back on anyone. Right? You're from Florida. People in New York City are going to sniff you out and realize you are completely unprepared to deal with their shit. In any event, luckily my friend made it back. Work associate. But yeah, I mean, this is the state of Democrat cities. Where men will rape women in public, where men and women will push others onto train tracks so that they die and get run over by trains, where illegal aliens show up and make demands of everybody that they should be cared for as if they are royalty, long lost royalty returning to their thrones. Unfucking believable, folks. It's not going to get better. It truly isn't. And how could it? How could it, based on everything, folks? Just unbelievable. I'm telling you. And Darcy T sent a message and reminded me that Jared Bernstein, he's the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors to the President Biden. The President of the United States of America has this guy named Jared Bernstein. I've heard about him for months and months. He actually wants, get this, he actually wants America and the US dollar, the Federal Reserve note, to lose world currency status. And he was in an interview and he was asked, how does the money system work? How is money made and printed, and where does it come from and where does it go? Explain to us our currency. And he couldn't, folks. He fumbled. He mumbled and he stumbled. And this is the man who chairs the Council of Economic Advisors to the president. They're that retarded. Look it up. Jared, Jared, Bernstein, Bernstein. Not the Bernstein Bears, but Jared Bernstein, the retard. And he is advising the president on economic, monetary, fiscal, financial policy. We are in big trouble. Big trouble. I mean, big trouble. So I hope you're prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. I sure hope you are. And folks, I'm going to be back Sunday Night Live. Let's see, today's Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, and 2 nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, but 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do it again. Hopefully, I only get 3/4 as schnockered as I did last Sunday, discussing all the SHTF, global politics, local screw-ups, just everything that's going wrong. And folks, it gives you an idea what's going on around the world, as well as what's just in your neighborhood, right? We all need to be prepared, but prepared for what? It's different to be prepared if you live in Chicago than if you live in, well, Jackson, Mississippi, or Shreveport, Louisiana. Or if you're in El Paso, Texas, look out, right? It's different in New York City. It's that America used to be pretty well characterized, right? Of course, cities are always worse, and northern ones are different than southern ones, but we used to all be Americans. Those days are over. Absolutely over. So, in any event, I've got a couple more things. Unbelievable. Speaking of people on the border towns, remember all of those crazy ass illegals? I think they were at El Paso, Texas. They crashed through the Texas Guard, tried invading the country. They were arrested for rioting, and then the judge let them go. So then the law enforcement in Texas arrested them again. And once again, a judge, I don't think it's the same judge, but another judge has dropped the charges against these rioters who violently assaulted Texas Guard, right? If they were conservatives, if they were libertarians, if they were Americans, they get 10 years or more in prison. They would have their children taken away and given to Disney. They would have their security taken away and donated to Ukraine. And they would have their wives taken away and given to the jihadi terrorists. That's really the world we live in now. It is absolutely unhinged, off the hook, crazy, stupid. Crazy, stupid. Just wow. Unbelievable. I watch my back everywhere I go, folks. I'm really glad that in the state of Florida, I have a concealed weapons permit now. But I don't need one in the state of Florida. But it helps if I travel to the other 38 states that are part of that, shall we say, mutually beneficial arrangement they have, where they reciprocate and understand and recognize that the right to keep and bear arms, which shall not be infringed by government, is applicable to everyone, no matter what state you're in. In fact, the 14th Amendment should give us the right, or rather, it should recognize our right, because the 14th Amendment is the Equal Protection Clause, meaning if you get a driver's license in California, you should be able to drive in any state. Right? You have a right to actually travel, but they call it driving. So, if that's a right, it's not a fucking privilege. It should be recognized equally in all 50 states. In Washington, D.C., you can just fuck off altogether. All right. Hey, Mr. Uman, it is an hour. I'm calling it quits. I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm going to see all of you Sunday Night Live. Bring your drinks, take some notes, have some questions. We'll do some super chats. We'll do some scotch. We'll have some fun. Godspeed to all. Semper Fi. And thank you, Mr. Uman, every day for coming here and making your presence known, helping out, kicking some ass. John here, out. See you soon.